Hey, this is Evan with Simple Sale. Just waiting to see viewers show up. Okay, this is Evan with Simple Sale. Just wanted to do a quick introduction before we got into the Q&A. Simple Sale is a distressed home buyer throughout Central Florida. We're actively buying properties, even though considering everything going on in the world currently, we're still buying throughout Central Florida, anywhere from Tampa to St. Pete, Titusville, Orlando, Ocala, Kissimmee, several different locations throughout Central Florida. We are actively buying. Distressed properties are anything from code violations, liens, legal issues like probate, judgments. We actively purchase those types of properties. We typically do not purchase properties that are not distressed. We're not a competitive offer on those types of properties, but we do actively work to purchase distressed properties and fix those situations on those properties. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into the questions. Some very commonly asked questions that we get here at Simple Sale. The first question is, can my house be distressed even if it's not damaged? And I think commonly people think distressed either means, the roof is falling in, or the AC doesn't work, or windows are knocked out, or it needs tons of repairs, and that's not always the case. Distress can mean foreclosure, code violations, liens, judgments. It can mean that there are probate issues where there's going to have to be litigation or lawyer work of any kind done. That's what is considered distressed in the residential space. The repairs aspect of distressed is commonly what we see. What comes with a property that's distressed is a lot of times there's a lot of work up front that needs to be done, and that's not a reason to not sell your property just because there are excessive repairs and it appears distressed. There are companies out there like Simple Sale that will purchase your property and work with you to get you the money that you deserve. With that, we will go on to the next question. How are you able to work through legal issues if you aren't a lawyer? This is pretty common. People that call Simple Sale and talk with us about, how do I fix this legal issue I have, like probate? How do I, get rid of these judgments or liens because I can't sell my property? And, from experience, we are able to talk with you about a lot of situations. We don't give advice because we aren't lawyers, but we do have lawyers that we use for different types of situations, like probate, for example. That's a very common one. I would say a third of all properties that we buy are probate properties that people don't even know about. We'll run title on the property and figure out that the person that thinks they own the property doesn't actually own it outright, technically. They may have treated it like they owned it for the last 10 years and lived in it, but that issue needs to be resolved in court, and we always hire a lawyer to do that after we figure out that there's an issue that needs to be resolved. The But a lot of times, just talking out a situation, we can figure out a solution without ever having to get into hiring a lawyer. It may not actually be a legal issue, even though it may have seemed that way. A quick example is a property right now that we are trying to purchase in St. Petersburg. I've been talking with this guy for a couple weeks now. We have the property under contract, and we're looking to purchase, and we ran title on it, and it came back that he actually didn't have 100% interest in the property, and he didn't know that. And it's very common. And now we're going to have to do probate on the property in order for for us to purchase the property. So it's not an unusual circumstance to get into a situation where you need a lawyer and you don't even know it. Okay, so we'll go on to the next question. Of course, when people reach out, a lot of times they ask how much is their home worth. And the easiest way to figure that out is to go to our website, simplesalescentralflorida.com, type in your address, leave a contact info. That's the best way to reach you, and we'll get in touch with you. We ask a few questions to determine the how your property, the current status of your property legally, and from a physical standpoint as well. And from there, we can give you an estimate on what we think the property is worth, contingent on legal issues that we may not know about, of course. And that's kind of the start of the relationship with Simple Sale, where we'll give you an estimate. And if that estimate is something that you're interested in, we'll dig further into coming to view the property, getting to know you, getting to know your situation, and talking with you about what's going on with the property, because a lot of times there can be some emotions, complexities, and we actively work to make sure that you're happy with the experience. Okay, I think covered that one. Just like I said, go by the website, simplesalescentralflorida.com. There on the landing page, you'll see, you just type in your address, then request your contact info, and we will reach out to you typically, within a few minutes to start the conversation. The next question, why should I sell my home to you and not through a realtor? And that's a great question, and that happens all the time. A lot of times we're not the best fit for buying a property because it isn't distressed, and there isn't a reason for us to have to help you with your property, because if there isn't anything wrong with the property, you do need to list it with a realtor. That's the better decision for you. You're going to, in all likelihood, get more money out of it. And we're not in the business of giving you bad advice. We're in the business of finding a solution. And sometimes that solution is us, and then other times it's not. It's all about having that initial conversation and determining what your situation is and what it appears to be is your best direction forward. Okay, so on to the next question we have. My home is a wreck. I'm not sure if it's even worth selling. So, commonly the properties that we look at do have, they have issues with them. where there's a lot of junk or, bad roof, knocked out windows, major leaks. And I would say that in almost all of those types of situations, it's a non-issue. Very few properties that we come by are properties that we can't do something with. So if you're embarrassed by the condition of your property currently, I would say that's not a reason to not reach out to us. You should reach out to us and still discuss, because I've never had a property where it's in such a condition that I can't evaluate it and give you a reasonable offer. So I would highly recommend that you still reach out, because it's not something that's going to deter us. And I think in most initial conversations with sellers, everyone always asks, is this the worst house you've ever seen? I mean, a large percentage of people ask that, and there's a few that stand off on their own, and then everyone else is pretty much the same. I mean, there may be some junk, or there may be some issues where repairs, updates are needed, maybe some just trash in the yard, whatever. But that's a non-issue, and it won't affect you getting an offer on your property. Okay, so the next question, can I sell my home if it's in pre-foreclosure? And that's a really common question, and of course you can. You can. The thing that people sometimes don't understand is almost all those transactions are going to be done through someone that's paying cash for the property. You're not going to be able to go out and find someone who's then going to a retail buyer that's then going to go get a loan and then purchase the property. That's not typically how it works. So when that happens and someone has to come in and pay cash for it, the offer is not going to be what your friend down the street told you that he'd pay you for it, that he just needs to get a loan from the bank, because that's in the form of a loan, and we buy in the forms of cash, and the valuations for property are different based on cost. So to answer that question again, you can absolutely sell it. It's a non-issue. In those types of situations, what we do is we run title, assuming title's clear, we get a payoff from your bank, and then we get that number, and my title company will then wire the money upon close to the bank to pay off the loan, and then you'll get what's left in between. So, for example, if it was you owed $100,000 on it and you're in foreclosure, and we got the payoff and it said, $100,000 even, and I offered $40,000 or $140,000, you would get $40,000 in between, minus some small prorated tax costs. But besides that, that would be the difference, and that was what you would get. You don't have to call the bank and then send them the money. We handle all that from our end. Okay, so I think that we answered that one. Next question: how do I know if the home I'm trying to sell needs a probate? That's one of those things where we figure it out after we run title. And I would say half the time people don't know that they even have to get a probate on the property until after we've run title and realize in order to close on the property, transfer title with a warranty deed, you'll have to do a probate. And that doesn't mean that we can't purchase the property. It just means that we're now going to have to go through a legal process in order to clear up the title on the property to be able to transfer it or convey the title legally. So it's not um, I would say half the time people don't know that they need a probate, and sometimes it honestly doesn't make sense on why. But that's the way conveyance works. That it needs to be shown by the court that you legally own the property before being able to sell it, and it does make sense because if it was easy, there would be some fraudulent activity with people trying to take title on other people's houses. So it's actually for the better. Unfortunately, it does cost money up front, and we work with you on those costs and see how we can pay those costs. We can or reduce those costs from the purchase price, depending on the situation in particular. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And a lot of these types of distressed homes are not a one-size-fits-all. Okay. So the next question is, how long does it take to sell or close on the house, which is the same thing. For you to sell to us and we close on it and transfer title, typically is never going to take more than 30 days. Typically, if the title's cleared, there's no outstanding issues that no one knew about, it will be in 30 days or less, maybe 3 weeks. We'll close on the property and move forward. If it's over 30, it's probably going to be because of a outstanding legal issue, or there was unknown circumstances that come up, because these situations with distressed homes can sometimes get pretty complicated. And what we do is we actively work with you to make sure that we are going to purchase your property as quickly as possible, if at all possible. And that means, taking care of business as fast as we can. So just to reiterate, typically 30 days or less to be able to purchase and close on the property. Next question, where do we buy homes? So we get people that reach out and say, I'm in, for example, Webster or Ocala or, Mascot or Groveland, things that in those types of areas that are not densely populated, and we do absolutely buy there. Inverness. We also buy in Tampa, St. Pete, Port Richey, Titusville, Melbourne, Palm Coast, Daytona, Ocala, Orlando, of course. Essentially most of Central Florida, and then also in some circumstances outside Central Florida. We will definitely consider your property, and no matter what, we'll just reach out and let's see if it's something that we are interested in purchasing, no matter the location. If there's not a specific boundary that we look at when we evaluate properties, so just reach out and we'll see if we're a good fit. And then I think the last question, which is I think one that people, when reaching out, are very can be very skeptical, saying, why should we work with you when we have 10 other people calling us or sending us letters in the mail? And I would say that working with Simple Sale is we operate with different standards than other companies. We operate by being trustworthy, accountable, and transparent. We do that by setting standards for ourselves in every interaction that we have and in every transaction that we have. We want to be considered trustworthy with everything that we say we're going to do, we do. And we are working in the best interest, and we're accountable for the things that we do. And we work and strive to create great accountability by making Simple Sale on the web, on social media. If you Google our company, you're going to find us, you're going to see our reviews, you're going to see how people felt after working with us. And the reviews are on there for people that, if they think they didn't have a good they weren't treated properly when working with Simple Sale, they're able to give reviews as well. So we keep it open, for the good and the bad. And fortunately, we've had a lot of good along the way. So accountability is huge. And then, of course, the last and most important is transparency. Just being transparent with the person. I think it's with a seller that's selling a distressed home, just being completely honest with them about what's going on, because most people sell a house once or twice in their life. We do it, daily. So just letting the seller know what's really going on from the perspective of someone who sees these types of situations every single day. That transparency is very, very important in creating a good relationship and having a successful transaction through all the situations that may come up, which they do often come up. So with that being said, I think that's kind of all the questions we have prepared. So just to close out, we appreciate you coming by and hearing some of the commonly asked questions that we get here at Simple Sale on a daily basis, and just wanted to have a stream and a video available that answers those questions, not from writing on a page or where it's not coming from necessarily from a real person that sees it every single day, to where you can see, I work with these properties every single day, and I deal with these issues every day. And I think having this stream in this video can be valuable to educate people without having to waste too much of their time. So I think that's it. And once again, I'm Evan with Simple Sale, and we really appreciate you coming by. And if you have any questions at all, simplesalescentralflorida.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Google, of course. Reach out with any properties that you may have. If you know of other people's properties, if you're a realtor and you know of distressed properties, reach out and see if we can, if we're a good fit. All right. Thanks.